Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another tutorial. I'm Dennis, and let's check out what I got for you guys today. Mr. Robot. Pretty cool, right? So I don't know if you've seen the show, but I love the show, and very excited for season 2 coming back. And last week I've been playing with Trapcode Form a lot for a project for work, and it's really cool. I've never actually used it too much, and I felt like I want to share with you some of the techniques that I've learned for the project I was working on. So I kind of built this Mr. Robot tribute thingy just to show what you can do with it. So let's get started. Let me pause that. Okay, so here we are in After Effects, and I'm gonna make a brand new composition. I'm gonna call this Mr. Robot. 5 seconds, 1920 by 1080 is fine. Okay. And okay. And first thing you need to find these images in Google. So just go in Google and type in hacker, and go in images, and you should be able to find this one. This is the exact one that I used, and all I did was bring this into Photoshop and just deleted the white background. You know, you can use the magic wand too for that, and also just type in Mr. Robot title, and yeah, and there's all these titles which I grabbed, which is right here what you see. And I'm just gonna scale this up and scale this down, bring it down here, and that's essentially, I'm just framing my composition of what I want it to look like. So that looks about right. So I'm gonna pre-comp the hacker. I'm gonna call this my hacker source, and then also pre-comp the title, so Mr. Robot source. Alright, okay, now I can just hide them. I don't need to see them anymore. So first thing, I'm going to make a background, so call this background, and I'm going to apply a ramp, gradient ramp to it, and I'm going to change this to radial, bring this down, swap the colors, and let's make that something real dark. And you can turn up the scatter value here to get rid of this banding. Just crank that up. It's a little better. Okay, so let's make another solid. I'm gonna call this my background noise. And these are just like these noises over here, right? So I'm gonna apply Trapcode Form, and open up your options, your base form, and the box grid is fine. I only need one layer, so one particles in the Z, and you have your size here, so I'm gonna drag that out, bring it out, bring it up, so it covers the screen, and then you can increase the amount of particles you want here. And in your layer maps options, you have all these. You can make custom maps for your form. So I'm gonna do one real simple. I just want the particles to exist kind of like a vignette, like around the middle, and then it kind of fades out towards the edges. So I'm just gonna make a new solid, make it white. Go to mask, make a mask, feather that out, and where it's going to be white is where the particle is going to be, and then where it's going to be black, you're gonna face it to nothing, right? So I'm going to pre-comp this. Going to call this my background noise size map, and go in there and just add another solid to the bottom, and go back, can hide this, you don't need to see it anymore. And then in my layer maps, I go to size, I'm gonna map the background noise size map and map it to XY. And now you see that it kind of fades off to the edges, and you can keep playing with this map if you want. All right, so you can even bring it in tighter. Now if you go back, it's yeah. So that's the idea. Okay, next thing I want to do, I'm gonna go into my fractal field and change this to individual, and just crank up the X a little bit. So by default, if you run preview that, it's just, you know, it's kind of displacing it in the X direction. But right now the scale is too large. So go into your fractal field options down here. I'm gonna change it to absolute noise. I don't really know the difference between these two, to be honest. I think this one, I don't know, this looks a little bit more complicated. So crank up your scale. You can increase your complexity, and let's run that back. See how that looks. Yeah, there you go. Now it's starting to look kind of like the noise I was going for. There's a speed right here, so you can turn that down if that's too fast. And let's go into my particles option itself, and let's increase some randomness to the size and also the opacity. And let's bring that back. Okay, cool. Nice. And lastly, I can just change the colors to like give it a little blue tint. And let's see. And there you go. There's your background digital noise. Okay. Very nice. Let's move on. Let's make another solid. We're gonna call this my hacker. And again, apply Trapcode Form to it. And let's see, box grid. Yeah, it's fine. And once again, I'm only gonna use one layer in the Z. And I'm gonna make the size the same size as my composition, so 1920 in the X and 1080 in the Y. Z doesn't matter since I only have one layer. Crank up the X, crank up the Y, and these values is whatever. I don't really, you can change them later. So once again, go into your layer maps, and in your color and alpha, you have your hacker source. RGBA to RGBA, and map over XY, and there you go. It's your hacker. You can crank up your values here, doesn't really matter. And let's see what I did. Okay, so you have your hacker source, right? I'm gonna duplicate this layer. I'm gonna call this my Mr. Robot source. Well, actually, no. I'm gonna undo that. Hacker source. There you go. Hacker source. I'm gonna call this my displacement map. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a solid background. Right. So there's no alpha. Without it, you see, there's the alpha. And I'm gonna make an adjustment layer, and I'm going to add a tint to it, and I'm going to change the black to 50% gray. So what happens is in Form, when you make a map, 50% gray is nothing, and black is like a negative, and white is positive, right? So just think of a wave, go up and down. So this is going to be my displacement map. And I can even add a curves to it to kind of like actually put the curves above it, kind of crush it just a little bit. You can play with this later. Let's go back to my Mr. Robot. I'm gonna drop the displacement map down here, and I'm gonna hide it. And So what you can do at this point, you can go your displacement, and once again, you can use your individual XYZ and map over XY, and you can select that layer, your map, right? So now if you crank up the strength, it does this cool thing right here. Oh, it's too high, right? And if you add a camera, you can even move around to it. You see how that these forms is really cool like that. And what I did for work though, this is a cool thing. I mapped it over Z, so you can do an animation where this thing comes at you like that, right? So if you move your camera, it's kind of like this, and you can animate it back, going back like that. So this is really cool. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna have a little bit of noise on the X because I think it looks kind of cool. You just add a little bit. Oh yeah, I gotta select the right map. If you add a little bit, say -10 or something, -20. Yeah, there you go. See, that just looks a little cool. None with this. And once again, go into a fractal field and just add some displacement in X, just a little bit. And once again, you need to crank up your noise values. Right now the scale is too low. F scale 20, 25, complexity make it 6, multiplier 0.6. 0.7, something like that. Okay, let's run preview that. Okay, cool. Let's see. Very cool. Maybe I'll turn on the speed a little bit. Cool. All right, and you can always crank up your values, your a number of particles down here. And once again, you can go into particles and then just add some variation to maybe the opacity, maybe the size, maybe not so much. Let's see, 10. Cool. So I think what I did is I just kind of I keyframed this the fractal strength. So in the beginning, I made it really high, something like this, and then go down a couple frames, maybe 2 seconds, and then just make that just bring that back, something real low, like that. So let's run preview that. It's like a TV noise distortion kind of effect. Real cool. Cool. Kind of like that. And also, I think I keyframed the size. So I'm gonna press U to bring out my keyframes. So I'm gonna start with 0 in the particle size, and then it kind of fades in like that. Also, I'm gonna hit this and hit F9 to make it smoother. Okay, now I'm gonna bring back my background noise, and I'm also gonna keyframe the size of my particles. In the beginning, gonna be 0. So let's run preview that. Let's see. Nice. Okay, of course. And then you can spend all day just tweaking these values, but that's essentially the idea here. And you can also even in your displacement, you can kind of like oh, I didn't even turn this on, did I? Oh wait, this is the background. In your displacement, you can even keyframe this just to make it a little interesting. So for example, I can make this something like that, go down, make it a little bit more, go down, bring it back, bring it back this way maybe. You can hit U to bring out my keyframes. Oops. What the hell? Oh, there we go. Now let's run preview that again. And it's pretty fast, right? And if you ever use Trapcode Particular, it's very similar, and you can have custom particles like sprites, and which is what we're gonna do for the actual title part. Ooh, so maybe it's a little too dramatic. It's kind of cool though, but yeah, maybe not so dramatic. So let's switch that. Let's see. Run preview, run preview. Nice. Okay. Cool. That's the idea. And then once again, you can play with your values there. You can add more or less. And you can even, if you want, you can even add a glow to this whole thing. Let's just try that. Oh yeah. Crank that up. Maybe bring this down. Get up. Oh, too much. Alright. Glow. Yeah. I'll leave this for now. Again, you just kind of keyframe all these values here. But we're good. We're good for this for now. So let's move on. Oh yeah, and well, I'll show you that later. Let's make a new solid. We're gonna call this Mr. Robot title. And once again, apply Trapcode Form to it and make it the same size as your comp, 1920 by 1080. Only one layer, so one particles in the Z. Crank up your values here, number of particles, and go into your layer maps, and once again color an alpha and select your map. So Mr. Robot source and RGBA to RGBA XY, and there you go, Mr. Robot. I'm going to make a displacement map for this one as well. So I'm going to take that and duplicate the comp and call this my displacement map. And I'm going to bring down here, hide it, go into it, and once again, I'm going to make a 50% gray solid in the background, right? And I'm going to change the color on my ping to 50% gray. Then I'm gonna go in my layer styles and I'm gonna add a outer glow and I make that white. And you can change the values up here. And I can also add a inner glow. Open that up, make it white once again. Oh yeah, you can make the opacity 100%. and you can, you know, just play with these values a little bit. It's all up to you how you want to do this. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is gonna be my map, right? Cool. So go to your form and go to your displacement, individual XYZ, map over XY, and I want to displace in the Y, and select your Mr. Robot source displacement map, and boom, there it is. Yeah, there we go. It's kind of cool. Let's see. Cool. Yeah, and you can go in here and kind of keep playing with your values. Let's see. Yeah. So it's all here. Let's see. I think that's what I did. Okay. So it's kind of just keyframed the displacement. So we can start out something like that. Strength. Go down to maybe 3 seconds and make it 0. So it kind of comes down like that. I hit U to bring out my keyframes. Let's run preview that real quick. Yeah, okay. So that's kind of the idea. I'm gonna pause for real quick. Sorry, we're back. Just had to run to the bathroom real quick. Okay, so here's where we left off, and you know what? We don't need as many particles. And this time we're gonna make a custom particle instead of using the sphere. Well, before we do that, we're gonna make a size map as well, right? So let's make a new solid. It doesn't really matter the color, and I'm gonna apply a ramp, gradient ramp once again to it, and yeah. I'm just gonna make that multiply or screen or whatever. Let's see, just so I can sorry, screen, just so I can see this, and I'm gonna keyframe the ramp value. So maybe I'll start like this, start a ramp. I'm gonna bring that back, and then I'm gonna go, oops, I'm gonna bring the whole thing up. So the Y is gonna be like where, once again, like, you know, where the particle is gonna be. What the hell? Oh fuck, I keyframed the wrong thing, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll go back. Go back. So you can do it with the mask or whatever too, but this is easy with the ramp. Okay, cool. Let's try that. I'm gonna pre-comp this as my Mr. Robot source size map. I don't need to see anymore. Hide it. Put it on the bottom. And let's go to our size, select that size map, oops, yeah, map over XY, and nothing. What? What's happening? Oh, it's like the right layer. Okay, there we go, XY. So as it's coming down, it's like smaller, and then Yeah. Okay, let's run preview that real quick. Nice. Yeah, nice. Cool. All right, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Okay, now let's make a custom particle for this one. So let's just make a new comp. Make it like small, like 200 by 200. Oh, what the 200 by 200. And take your text tool and just hit 0. And you can use whatever font you want. And we're just gonna make a little binary animation. So it goes from 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Right? So open up your text options and animate and add a character offset. And you just need 1 right here. And then going here, you add a wiggle selector. And if you go through, it goes. You get this 9 here. So to get rid of that, I think you nope, make one of these 0. Okay, so make the minimum amount 0, and it just goes 0 to 1. And then you can change the speed up here, like I don't know, 6 times a second. So this is just kind of you have your binary sequence, right? D. So real easy. We're gonna call this my particle source, and go back to your comp. Drop your particle source in here. Turn it off, and in your particles, change that to a sprite colorized, and pick your particle source. There you go. And then I'm going to use a random loop. And right now I think the size is too small. Might be too small. So I'm going to bring that way up to 6. It's taking a second. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Random loop. And right now it's way too many particles, so make that real small. And at this point, you're just like, you know, trial and error really. I'm just kind of playing with some of these values. And yeah, there it is. Maybe 8. Yeah, pretty sick. 7. Boom. Okay. And once again, you can keyframe the yeah, that looks cool, right? Look at that. You can keyframe your size. So keyframe that and bring it down a little bit and make it start with 0. So it they kind of fall in. Rains down, and they're all animating randomly. So let's do a quick RAM preview, and I'm gonna pause that. Let's see RAM previews. Okay, we're back, and here's the RAM preview, and that looks awesome. I'm I'm really happy with this. Okay, so now let's turn everything back on, and you notice the particles are animating because what we did here. So we're close to being done. So let's turn everything back on. Work our background noise. We got our hacker. Okay, and you know what I did now. It's just a matter of try to make everything look correct. So I think I don't need this glow. Turn this glow off, right? And then I think for my title, I made that an add, and then I think I also duplicated that layer on top of it, so you can you can see a little better. I might have even added a glow to this, one of these. Yep, just a little bit. Now you can play it. You can play without. And for my hacker, I turned that. I think one of them I turned it into a color dodge, which is kind of cool. You duplicate that layer and make it add, and you can turn down your opacity a little bit, right? And then at some point, yeah. And then I think you can add a final adjustment layer, overall adjustment layer. You can add a curves to it. Just see, let's go to our end frame here. Kind of like, let's crush that a little bit. Let's see. And then, let's see. With my hacker, with my displacement, I can even tune that down. Let me get 20. Yeah, there we go. Mr. Robot. Okay, now let's run preview this and see what we get. All right, we're back, and let's take a look at our RAM preview. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much the idea. And you know, of course, you can fine tune this forever to get it looking exactly like the way you want. But that's the general approach. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one, and thank you for watching. I will see you next time.